That's right. The governor appointed me just 6 days ago to replace Don Willett, who, as Mr. Cruz correctly mentioned, we're all so fortunate that Don Willett was appointed to the Supreme Court by to the Fifth Circuit, excuse me, by President Trump. I'm perhaps the most fortunate person because that opened up a seat on the Texas Supreme Court, and Governor Abbott decided to appoint me. We got into this race expecting to have a primary opponent. There was a fellow by the name of Rick Green who had announced for the seat and was planning to run, and he had run twice before, and he's a good man, a very conservative man, a man who believes in the same conservative constitutional principles that I believe in. And I had a conversation with Rick, and we talked to him about whether both of us should run, and he agreed not to run. Rick Green is supporting me, and I don't have an opponent in the primary. So I'm blessed to be able to say that, and blessed to have the support of Rick Green and all the wonderful people who have supported him over the years. A little bit more about me. I'm from Houston. Grew up in Missouri City, just outside of Houston. I went to law school, was a practicing lawyer in Houston, and I had been doing that for a while, and I was looking around wondering how can I use my talents to advance the conservative constitutional principles that I believe in. And President Obama had just been elected, and I looked around and I saw in Austin that then Attorney General Abbott was taking the fight to the president and going to court and fighting for the constitutional principles that he stood for and that I believed in. And so I said, I want to do that. I want to do whatever I can to help Attorney General Abbott in those cases. And so I was able to get hired into the Solicitor General's office. And very early on, I asked if I could work on the Obamacare case, on right-to-life cases, on cases where we were challenging overreaching EPA regulations that were brought by the Obama administration. And because of my work on those cases, I was able to develop a relationship with the governor, or excuse me, the Attorney General, that then led quickly to a relationship of trust. I became his closest legal advisor, and then when he became governor, he brought me over to the governor's office as his general counsel. And so I've been doing that for the last 3 years, until just the other day, last Tuesday, the governor appointed me to the Texas Supreme Court, and I'm obviously honored, privileged. It's a big responsibility to sit on that court and to be a justice on the court of last resort for all civil cases, including many constitutional cases, interpreting the Bill of Rights and many of the constitutional liberties that we all hold dear. It is our job at the Texas Supreme Court to apply the Constitution, apply the text of the Constitution, the text of the laws, not to listen to the clever ways that lawyers try to manipulate the text of the Constitution to get to a place where they want to go, but to apply the text of the Constitution as it was originally enacted by the founders of this country, and as the people who wrote it understood it to mean. That's our job, and that's our only job. Our job is not to reach an outcome that we want to reach. Our job is to apply the law the way it is written. And as I worked on those cases at the AG's office, the Obamacare case, the EPA cases like that, we won some and we lost some. And we won big and we lost big. But so often the reason for the win or the loss was the judge sitting on that bench and what kind of a constitutional philosophy that person brought to the bench. And so I learned working on those cases just how important it is to have people on the bench who will apply the text of the Constitution the way it is written and will not legislate from the bench and will not try to reach outcomes that some people may think are favorable. We will only apply the law because ultimately we are ruled by laws. I see rule of law over here. It's one of the principles that the Tarrant County Tea Party believes in, and that is the bedrock principle as far as I'm concerned, undergirding everything that we have in this country. We are ruled by laws. We are not ruled by judges. We are not ruled by lawyers. We are not ruled by bureaucrats or elected officials. We are ruled by laws that we, the sovereign people, have consented to be governed by. The people are in charge. You know, the preamble to the U.S. Constitution, everybody knows that. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. We learned that in elementary school. Does anybody know the preamble to the Texas Constitution? It's beautiful. Let me recite it for you. Humbly invoking the blessings of Almighty God, the people of the state of Texas do ordain and establish this Constitution. That's the preamble to our state constitution. Every child should learn that in public school as far as I'm concerned. Notice two quick things about it. It begins with God. We invoke the blessings of God when we founded this state. I asked for God's help when I took the oath last week, so help me God. Every elected official says it, and I meant it. And I know the other elected officials in this room meant it. The state of Texas asked for God's help at the outset. And then the second thing about that preamble is that it is we, the people, that established the state of Texas.
Right.
As I said, it is not the judges, it is not the lawyers, it is not the powerful, it is not the wealthy, it is the people. And the people are sovereign, and the people gave up a little piece of their sovereignty when they entered into the Constitution, and they agreed to be governed by the rules laid down as written in the Constitution. The people did not agree to be ruled by whatever 5 or so judges think is right. We agreed to be ruled by the Constitution. I'm going to work as hard as I can every day to apply the text of the Constitution the way it is written, and to uphold the constitutional liberties that we all hold so dear. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're here.